Welcome back, Attack. I'm Skyland Short, and today we're doing a first impression look at the new character, the new god in SMITE, Medusa. So Medusa's definitely fun, I could say that for sure. She plays a little bit weird considering that she's an ADC, and normally as a marksman, you want to be the one that's consistently doing attack damage at a safe range, but she actually has a very aggressive playstyle, and also it's burst oriented. Yeah, she is a hunter, but she kind of almost plays like, I don't know, like a mage. So with that in mind, I think she is a very interesting kit, and of course her ultimate is going to have to be just like Cassiopeia's, which is very much inspired by the mythology, where she's going to unmask her face, because she's going to look right into the enemy's eyes and then turn them to stone. It's a pretty good CC, it does some damage, it's got a really good range, but the drawback is that it takes a while to launch, it's very visible when it's happening, and they have to be looking at you. Now, one thing that I found is that if you're facing against Medusa, just looking away isn't enough. You pretty much have to turn your back to her in order for it to not work, and then sometimes when I'm playing Medusa, they will be essentially looking right at me just at an angle, and then I still won't stun them. So there's a little bit of a hiccup with it sometimes. It's probably just some bug fixes that need to occur there, but yeah, overall I think she's very cool with her ultimate. I think it's very strong for either engages or disengage, especially. Yes, I love split pushing with this girl, and sometimes I'll leap away and then I'll use my ultimate, and yeah, GG pretty much. Really reminiscent of an Artemis ultimate, how Artemis is played. And I think kind of her burstiness really reminds me of like Cupid, but it's a little bit more instant. With Cupid, you gotta wait a little bit for the bombs to go off, but Medusa's a little bit more instant. But then again, saying instant, she has poisons, and poisons actually are really awesome. With these poisons on her #1 ability, which gives her 100% attack speed, and then gives a little bit more damage to her auto attacks. It can't be turned off though, so unlike, what is it, Mercury's ultimate, and then Athena's charge, you can't turn it off. So once you activate it, it's very visible, they can see how many shots you have left. So there's a lot of counterplay with Medusa, not just with that one ability, but all of her abilities is very visible, and also it puts her at a lot of risk, so she's a very risky marksman, which is kind of interesting as well. But yes, the envenoming shots are really strong. You can actually take down some tanks with this. It allows her to duel a little bit, but because it does increase your attack speed, it can kind of jar you a little bit, because you're used to your normal attack speed and how fast your arrows are moving then, and then all of a sudden you activate your ability, and a lot of times, I mean, for me personally, especially learning her, it was really awkward because I would miss my abilities as soon as I was hit #1. I would hit like 3 arrows in a row, press #1, expect to get the next 3, and then just totally miss it because they're moving way too fast. But once you get used to that, acclimated to that, I think she's got a really high skill cap. I think you could do a lot with her because she's very aggressive. Now, her leap, which is aggressive, kind of micro stuns you and the opponent, which is really good because it allows you to prime your next abilities for a lot of burst damage, very secure burst damage, but it does kind of snare you a little bit of a snare, very micro snare. But still, in a team fight, you're probably not going to want to use that unless it's like the last person alive, unless they are caught out, right? So if somebody is totally away from the group and you want to just jump on them real quick, but for the most part, I like using it as an escape because it's really long and really quick. But yeah, her crit is pretty interesting. I mean, it's nothing totally unique because we do have Cassiopeia from League of Legends, and we also have Medusa in Dota 2. So of course there's going to be elements from those two, obviously, because they're taking inspiration directly from Medusa and Medusa's mythology. But aesthetically, I think it really works because, I mean, it's just very interesting where she fits in with the meta, also how she looks, and just overall like how it feels playing her versus everyone else playing against you, because you are a burst marksman. So I actually found success playing her solo, a little bit jungle. I think she can totally jungle, she clears well, her ganks are actually really fun and fantastic, especially if you're coming around behind somebody. And this is, you can gank whenever you're ganking, you don't just have to be a jungler to gank. But if you're ganking as a marksman or in a team fight, you have to remember where people are going to be looking. So if you come from behind them and they're turning just then, that's when you want to activate your ultimate. If you are chasing somebody, you can use your ultimate, but it's just going to slow them. You really want to get that stone. You really want to turn them to stone. So you're going to have to want to use that and time that perfectly. However, the cooldown's actually not that big, but because of her bursty nature, she's actually not terribly strong at boxing. I would say it's actually kind of a weak spot. Once she uses all of her abilities, she's extremely vulnerable, and it kind of sucks if you're going against an Arachne, a Nemesis, oh my goodness. Thanatos can actually do a lot of damage to you as well. You're not going to out-sustain a Thanatos, and he actually is really bursty as well. So she really does play like an attack damage mage. So if you want to play her mid, she actually has really good wave clear. You know what? Exceptional wave clear and poke at the same time because of her spit acid, which is kind of similar to Lissandra's Q. or Winter Wyvern's abilities. So what happens is you spit a glob of acid and it hits an enemy, and then from that enemy it kind of shrapnels out and fragments out, and it does pretty good damage, pretty okay damage. So if you're mid or if you're solo laning, I guess you could probably level up your W for a really good wave clear, but honestly you don't even need to level it up. Its base damage is fine enough, and if you level up your 1 and if you're comfortable with hitting your auto attacks using your number 1, you're going to be doing a lot of damage dueling, and if you can snowball, Medusa is extremely snowbally. And what's awesome is that she can snowball her teammates, and even if she's not snowballing herself, because she is a burst character, she's going to be able to do some damage some of the time, but her ultimate is going to always be useful as long as you can land it. And also, I do like her dash, so she is safe. And overall, I think she's going to be a great pick. Now, she's not going to be as strong as, say, somebody like Apollo at split pushing, and she doesn't have a cross-map ultimate like Neith, but overall, considering all things, she's pretty awesome, and I definitely like her. I'm not sure if people are going to pick her over somebody as safe as Rama. She's a little bit more aggressive, but I think for solo queue, she's going to be an absolute monster. So that was it. That was my first impression. Overall, I think she's a lot of fun. Her kit on paper, statistically, I mean, it doesn't seem terribly interesting, but when you're inside of the SMITE meta, it is very, very interesting, especially considering how, I guess, meta breaking it really is. You could probably take her anywhere. You could probably play every position. I don't know, maybe even support if you wanted to, because she has okay base damages and a little bit of interesting CC as, I mean, who knows? She could probably play every position, and I think that's just very interesting, and that's why I like SMITE kits. But real quick, before we end this, we should talk about the item builds. I know there's going to be a lot of flexibility with this, and she's very new, so, you know, we still got to figure out what is optimal on her and what different positions. But personally, for what most fun that I had was, I got Hasten Fatalis pretty early, as first item or second, well, not first item, but like third item, maybe second item, and it was just so much fun because her passive actually gives her reduced penalty when backpedaling and no penalty when strafing. That means, like, when you have Hasten Fatalis, that you are all over the place. You're literally the fastest character. Now, I know Bellona also had a very similar passive, but with an ADC with a marksman, it is just a terrible amount of fun. You have so much chase potential, and it just really fits her aggressive playstyle to get Hasten Fatalis. And overall, I feel like Medusa's kit is all about being aggressive, farming up really fast, ganking a lot, and just doing a lot. Low cooldowns, lots of range, lots of just play potential, skill ceiling. Yeah, Medusa's pretty fun, but her item range is probably great. Yeah, I think it's safe to assume you could just build whatever you want. Somebody's gonna have to do some number crunching and figure out what to get first, what to get last, etc. But I really just think Hasten Fatalis is just so much fun on her. Thanks for watching, guys. I'm Scanlan Short with Attack Gaming, and we will hopefully see you again soon. Like and subscribe so that you can stay notified. Go check out MMOATK.com, why not? And we'll see you again later.
Do you like here in Halo 1? Halo CE. The best Halo, as I like to call it. The most intuitive Halo.
I did not know this before the Master Chief Collection. I fucking hate Halo 1 with a living passion. What a bad fucking game. I mean, you play half the game, it's new levels. The second half of the game... Oh.
That was the loudest sound we ever recorded on this show.
Oh, I see it.
You broke it.